Hey, welcome back. Yokohama is the Japanese port city where old docks, skyline walks, garden calm, and serious noodle culture all somehow live together. Do the city well and you get bay views, ship history, Chinatown chaos, and the good kind of weird, instead of just drifting between malls and guesses. I already mapped the whole trip into a template, so if you want it, the link's in the description and pinned comment. Spring suits Yokohama because the waterfront actually invites long walks, and if rain shows up, the city has solid indoor pivots that still feel worth it. First, Yokohama introduces itself through reused port infrastructure, instant noodles taken absurdly seriously, and warehouses that aged better than expected. Kishamichi Promenade is a converted rail line by the bay, and for a first-timer, it explains Yokohama in about 10 minutes. You get open water, a very tidy skyline, and those old industrial bones still doing useful work because the city kept them. Morning is best here for cleaner light and fewer people stopping every few steps for the exact same photo you are considering. I like that it feels less like an attraction and more like the city casually showing off without making a speech about it. A few minutes on, the Cup Noodles Museum sounds like a joke stop until you realize it is really about invention, branding, and post-war everyday life. Inside, it is bright, busy, and weirdly sincere, with adults and children giving noodle design choices the gravity of career planning. It lands well here because after the bay walk, an indoor stop with actual personality feels better than hiding in a random cafe. If you want the hands-on parts, check the official site first and arrive a bit early so the fun does not begin with mild panic. Then, the Red Brick Warehouse gives the waterfront its older face, former port buildings that still anchor the harbor instead of just decorating it. The best part is the contrast: brick, sea air, open plaza, and modern Yokohama rising neatly behind it like it has rehearsed this. Come mid to late afternoon because the exterior gets nicer as the light softens, and the place works better outside than buried in shopping. It is also a very modern lesson in urban history. Keep the warehouse, add retail, and everyone agrees this counts as culture now. Day 2 shifts from open harbor air to an old ocean liner and then straight into the lantern-lit appetite test of Chinatown. Yamashita Park is the broad harbor promenade, where Yokohama feels most spacious, with water on one side and the city behaving itself on the other. This is not a deep-meaning park stop. It matters because you actually feel the port here through the ships, wind, and long open edge. Morning works best when it is calmer, less performative, and more local. Coffee runners, gulls, and people quietly using the city. Treat it as a walk with benefits, not a formal sightseeing mission, and it sets up the ship and Chinatown without feeling staged. Right by the park, NYK Hikawa Maru is a preserved ocean liner you can walk through, which is much more convincing than reading one harbor plaque. The interiors are polished and narrow in that old travel way, like crossing the Pacific once required both elegance and a tolerance for hallways. It earns its place here because the ship gives Yokohama's port history an actual interior, not just a view across the water. If you like decks, keep a light layer handy. Spring by the bay can still get sharp once the wind starts doing its thing. By evening, Yokohama Chinatown is the city's dense, loud, hungry counterpoint to all that harbor breathing room. Even if you know nothing about it, the appeal is immediate: gates, steam, sweets, dumplings, bright signs, and sidewalks negotiating with human appetite. It works best in early evening because the lanterns start paying off before the full dinner crush turns every decision into queue management. Share snacks and keep moving. Chinatown is better as a district to sample, not a place to lose all stomach capacity at stall 1. The last day gets less polished. Market morning, a surprisingly traditional garden, then a ramen finale that knows exactly what it is doing. Yokohama Central Wholesale Market is where the city drops the waterfront styling and gets practical. You come for morning rhythm more than scenery. Broth smells, workmanlike chatter, fluorescent lighting, and absolutely no interest in your cinematic moment. Go early because marketplaces make sense when they still have momentum. Later, the spell breaks and it just feels functional. I would keep expectations simple here: a grounded breakfast and a glimpse of how a port city feeds itself behind the postcard version. Sankeien Garden is where Yokohama suddenly stops reading as modern Bay City and starts looking like a carefully composed traditional landscape. What makes it stick is not just the pond and seasonal flowers, but the historic buildings moved here to give the whole place architectural depth. Afternoon suits it because this stop really is a long exhale. Gravel paths, reflections, birds, and everyone instinctively lowering their voice. If the waterfront version of Yokohama felt a bit too polished, this is the stop that rounds the city out properly. Then Shin-Yokohama Ramen Museum closes things out with a very tourist-friendly idea that is better than it sounds. It is part museum, part retro streetscape, part regional ramen sampler, with broth steam and nostalgic lighting doing most of the persuasion. Go earlier in the evening because queues build fast, and this place is more fun when you can try more than one bowl. Check the official site before you go, then pace yourself. Ramen ambition is easy, but the consequences tend to become quite personal. What makes Yokohama stick is that it never leans on one mood for long. Harbor City, Immigrant City, Garden City, and Comfort Food City all keep trading places. If you want the pre-built route template with the map view ready to edit, it's linked in the description and pinned comment. Let me know which Yokohama stop you would protect first, or which one you think I am underrating in the comments.